This is George Dionne with Metal Express Radio, and I'm here with Udo Dirkschneider of the band U.D.O. How you doing today, Udo?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you very much. Everything is okay so far.
Awesome. Your new album is set to be released on October 22nd on AFM Records.
Yes.
It's called Game Over.
Yes.
I noticed from a songwriting point of view, you're tackling a bit of social issues here, kind of like you did with your album We Are One. What are some of
Yeah.
these What are some of these issues that mean a lot to you as far as social issues are concerned?
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, I'm I never was a guy in the old days and also now with UDO. I mean, I was not involved in songwriting or writing lyrics about dragons, middle age witches or whatever. No, for me, it's in a way important to write songs or lyrics about what's happening in the world, what's going on and what is wrong and what you can maybe make better. And that's more important for me than instead of writing stuff like dragons and all that stuff.
One of the songs you have called Kids and Guns, very important issue in where I live in the United States and, of course, around the world. Was there a particular event that kind of inspired this song?
Yeah, I mean, it's in general, we against weapons. And I mean, it's better to talk to each other than to kill each other, I mean, of course, in some countries they have a different how you say this in English, a different feeling for that. America, for example, is a big how you say this, big lobby going on for weapons. Mm-hmm. Americans are more in that. They say, yeah, we don't have any problems with that. But it's the same also, kids and guns. We have this problem in Africa. They're kidnapping young boys and make them young soldiers, killing people, and they're maybe 14, 15 years old. Something like that is in general against weapons. So that's the main meaning.
Excellent. Another song you have that actually kicks off the album is Fear Detector. We're kind of sort of living in a ball of fear, if you will, over the last year or so. Is that kind of what inspired this song?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, of course, a lot of fears going on, I mean, like the climate's changing, I mean, we had this big flood here in Europe. There was in Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, Switzerland, Italy. And then if you see, these big fires going on in the south of Europe and also California and also in Siberia, there was a huge fire going on. And yeah, I mean, it's in a way the story about this song, We are living in a strange feeling and climate problem that we have,
The album Game Over is actually quite a long album. You got 16 songs going on here. Did you start from scratch when you made the album, or did you have some stuff sitting around that you thought would be appropriate for it?
Yeah, I mean, of course, about the pandemic time, we had a little bit more time, so no touring going on, And yeah, I mean, we had many ideas. I mean, now with the two new members like Dionne and Thielen Hoedrap, they also had tons of ideas. Also, of course, Andre, I mean, he is always into music and he always had tons of ideas. Yeah, and then in the end, we had... was that maybe around 30, 35 songs, not ideas, not finished songs. And then we said, okay, which ones we want to work on? And then that was like 2021. And and then we start slowly working on this, but that was also different now, Normally, if we are having all these ideas, then we go normally into a rehearsal room, little studio, and start working together in one room on the songs, including the producer. But pandemic, it was not possible to do this. So now then we have to do this all the stuff over Skype, Zoom, FaceTime, WhatsApp. We're always making a conference, and then we were talking over the internet. And that took also a little bit of time, That was for everybody a little bit strange to work like this, So, and it was the same also the main recording, that also it was not allowed to have more than two people in the studio. There was the sound engineer, Stefan Kaufmann, and then every musician was on his own, and that's also not normal for us. Yeah, and in the end, we came up then with 17 songs. There's one bonus track for Japan. And then, of course, the record company said, are you sure you want to put 16 songs on the album? We said, yeah, we want to do that. I mean, we like all the songs, and so where's the problem? I mean, value for money, so, and here we go.
You mentioned your two new band members. You have Dee Dammers on guitar and
Yes.
Dylan Hudrap. What did they bring to the songwriting process?
D, for example, he is 28 years old, very modern stuff, not like, but more modern. He came up with some more modern stuff. Thielen is more the classic heavy metal guy. And and the whole combination also together with Andre. And also my son was more involved this time. I mean, I wrote all the lyrics together with my son. And also he was involved in a lot of melodies, I mean, he came up and said, Daddy, I have an idea. Maybe we can do it like this. I have a melody like this. And then he's also said, when I came up with melody, he said, can you maybe change that here a little bit and there? So that was, in a way, I would say, a real band working on this album, Everybody was involved in everything. But also the new two members, I was a little bit surprised what kind of ideas they had, They was like, wow. Yeah, so I'm really happy with this lineup, what I have now around me, a young band and an old daddy on vocals.
So taking on these two new members kind of makes U.D.O. a 5-piece.
Yes.
It was a 4-piece last time. Do you like having the twin guitars, kind of throw back to the classic 80s metal?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was also good to see for me, Andre was not really happy the last time on Seal Factory. He has to do all the guitars, and now for him it was like working together with D. That was like for him. He said yes, that inspired. He was inspired. D was inspired. They was really working together. And I mean, the guitar work on this album, I like it very much. I think they did a great job.
Your former member Fitty Weinhold stepped away last year. There's no hard feelings between you guys and him, right?
No. I mean, I'm still in contact with him, and no problem at all. There is no any bad things happened. No. It's really he was tired of touring. He was in U.D.O. for 23 years.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, he said he said one day to me, Udo, I don't want to do this anymore, So what can you do? Everybody has to make his own decision for his life. And then he told me exactly when he wants to stop. And then we had enough time to looking for a new bass player. And Andre came up with the bass player, and he said, hey, you remember the band was open up for us, it was Vicious Rumor. And then he said, do you remember the bass player? I said, no. And he said, we have to check this guy, So, and here we go. Thielen on bass now.
Another song you have on the album that I think is quite appropriate is Metal Never Dies.
Yes.
You, in the middle of a pandemic, put on a live show in Bulgaria in 2020 called the Pandemic's Survival Show. Fantastic show. You guys played Accept songs. You played U.D.O. You had a small crowd of people. Was that something that was difficult? Was there a lot of red tape to get that going?
Let's say that was our Bulgarian promoter came up and said, I want to do a show, open air show in Bulgaria. And we said, are you sure? During the pandemic? That was in July, I think. Middle or end of July. And then we said, okay, we will see. And then he came up and said, everything is prepared. I have a secure schedule for hygienic stuff and everything fine. And then then, yeah, we said, okay, are you sure? Yeah, we said, okay, no problem. And then, of course, for us, it was a little bit of a problem. We had to rehearse. We was not playing for 1 year, you
Right.
know. So we were lucky. Everybody came to Germany, and yeah, then we start rehearsing. And just in case, we did the video for Prophecy. We did Never Dies. We did also the photo session for Game Over. You know, nobody knows. Can we come together like this? You know. So and then yeah, they showed us the venue in Bulgaria. And then we said, wow, it looks fantastic. And come on, let's try to record the whole thing and also film the whole thing. Yeah. And then, I mean, we were thinking, okay, maybe there are coming 500, 800 people. No, that was nearly 3,000. And it was like, wow, you know, and that was a really, yeah, it was a really emotional evening also for us, you know. The people, I think, was waiting for to see a show, and we was waiting to present the show, and the whole thing came really together, you know. That was a really fantastic evening, and I think you can hear that also on this album, and also see it on the video, you know, and that was a really great evening. Yeah. So that was something in between, but that was the only show in 2020. Yeah. Yeah.
Recently, you guys played the Alcatraz Music Festival in Belgium.
Yes.
That
Yes.
that that event looked awesome. This had to be your first giant crowd after being locked down, right?
Yes, yes, and that was also a very special evening. You know, that was under Dirkschneider only with Accept songs, but normally this was planned also in 2020. That was planned to do the Metal Heart anniversary show. So, and then when they said, okay, this year we do the Alcatraz Festival, we had a contract still, and they said, okay, please come under Dirk Schneider and then play Accept songs. Okay, no problem. I mean, for us, on this evening was like, it doesn't matter what name, Dirk Schneider, U.D.O., doesn't matter what kind of songs. It was just we can go on stage and play in front of really huge audience, you know. That was also a really special evening. That was a great evening. And
Absolutely. It
also,
looked like
and also we had it on TV now in Europe. So perfect.
yeah, it looked like it was a great time. It looked fantastic. People were dying for live music, I bet.
Oh
And
yeah, oh yeah,
you guys put
definitely.
on a good show, I'm sure. You've pretty much made peace with the fact that you're not going to retire except songs from your set list because the fans just want it too much, right?
I know this is a thing, you know. I mean, of course, after the Dirk Schneider thing that I did for 3 years, I was a little bit tired, you know, of Accept songs. I was like, come on, I have enough UDO stuff. But now, I mean, after nearly 3 years, of course, now everybody is like, maybe you can play maybe the classic stuff of Accept songs, you know, maybe in the end of a set or whatever. Of course, I mean, you know, it's like give the people what they want. I mean, there is a history; they want to hear that. So it mean I always say, can you imagine Deep Purple without Smoke on the Water? You know, it's like in a way the same. It's yeah. So I mean, in the meanwhile, I don't have any problems with this anymore, and yeah. So it will be definitely a couple of Accept songs, maybe two, three classic songs, and then I think the people are satisfied.
I think so. And speaking of Accept, you did a little EP earlier this year. It's called The Rising. It features Stefan Kaufmann, formerly of Accept, Peter Baltes, formerly of Accept, your son, Matthias Diaz. It's just a quick EP. Do you guys have any plans to do something down the road? Maybe another EP?
Let's say it this way. This EP was like a charity thing, you know. I mean, there was Stefan Kaufmann. He has this idea, and he said, "Hey, come on, you cannot tour. I mean, the UDO crew has no work. The band members of UDO, they have no work. I think they need some money." So, and these three songs, yeah, was normally planned for the We Are One album with the orchestra, but there was no more space. We couldn't put it. It was full. The city was full. And and then we said, okay, we do everything for free. And Stefan was making a contract then with the record company, with AFM, where I'm on. And they had said, yeah, very good idea, so no problem. And for me, it was like, working with two members of Accept again. It was like the old gang is back, you know. I mean, it was really a lot of fun to work with them. And of course, with my old guitar player, Matthias Diet, that was also, you know, he said, okay, I was not playing for 15 years, but I still can do it. So, and then Manuela, she was already working with us on the We Are One album. And of course, my son, he was doing the drums on these songs. And that was also something like just making music, you know, having fun to do this without thinking, okay, we have to go in this direction or this direction, whatever. It just make nice songs and have fun, you know, without any pressure. And that was really great. So, of course, people was asking, oh, you know, what is this? And the reaction was fantastic. And then all the people asking, is there maybe an album coming, you know? So I don't want to say no, but I think we have to see if we have time, if we have enough ideas, you know. Maybe then in between something, touring, whatever, we can maybe work on an album, but that will be always a project, you know. That will be not a band going on tour or whatever. It's making that maybe is a thing on the side, just having fun making music, you know. So it's a good thing.
Excellent. Now, if you can believe this, next year marks the 35th anniversary of your first U.D.O. album, Animal House.
Oh, yeah.
What do you remember about making that album and kind of the tour that followed?
Yeah, I mean, Animal House, that was normally an Accept album after Russian Roulette, the whole songs. And then, you know, at this old story, they want to be more commercial and want to be more in American market, and I don't know. And then, of course, the songs was already there. And then they said, okay, you can have the songs, it's easier then for you to start a solo career, blah, blah, blah. So, and then, I mean, for me, it was easy to find some band members, musicians, you know. That was the two Warlock guys and, Matthias Diet already. And the drummer was Thomas Franke, yeah. Very unknown guy. And, and then, I mean, this album was a big success. And when we went directly on tour, European tour, I went to America, was touring with Guns N' Roses, Lita Ford, you know, for me it was like, okay, here we go. And I think Accept was not that lucky with the next album, what they did. Let's say it in this way. Yeah, but I mean, I was talking with David Ruiz, you know, we are really good friends. That's also
Good.
really funny, you know. And he was supporting me on the last European tour. Also very fun, yeah. So, and we was talking about this, and he said, yeah, I enjoyed to do it. He was enjoying to do this, but he said, I'm not Udo. You know, he said to me, that was the problem, you know, the people did really accept him, you know. It was like, So, but, you know, yeah, it's nice to talk to him. It was also interesting to hear some stories out of his mouth, you know, what was going on with Accept. Yeah, but interesting. Anyway, yeah, I mean, and that was the story to start the whole solo career, you know. Of course, in the meanwhile, I did a quick reunion with Accept, and it doesn't end up in the same situation, and I was not really happy in the end. And then in 2005, we did this festival tour coming up. It was a lot of fun, but in the end, you know, the feeling was not right, you know. I mean, I think they thought, okay, we do this, and then Udo is coming back, you know. But for me, it was like, nah, I feel not comfortable, you know. And then it was for me like, I had already the Mission Number 10 album was already done. And then directly after this, the album came out, and I went on UDO tour, you know. So, and yeah, that's the whole story, you know. And then I think in the meanwhile, of course, my history with Accept, I appreciate it, you know, everything fine. And it was a nice time. Okay, I mean, I did Accept since 68, 9, the name Accept came, you know, before Wolf Hoffman and Peter Walters came and all that stuff. And yeah, but now with UDO, I mean, now this is the 17th album.
Here you are, 35 years later, and you're on your 17th UDO album. And Game Over is a great album. I listened to it. Quality
Yeah,
stuff like you always put out. I got to agree with
yeah.
that.
I like that very much, you know, and also I'm really happy with the band members what I have now around me. And hopefully, I cross my fingers, I don't have to search for again for another second guitar player. But this time, you know, yeah, it's also interesting to see, you know, they can talk to each other. They are really, you know, it's good to see, and I think that will be, yeah, the lineup takes a little bit longer this time.
Absolutely. That's all I got for you today, Udo. I wish you the
Okay,
best of luck on the new album, and thanks for
thank you
speaking
very
with Metal
much.
Express Radio.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much, and what can I say? See you hopefully next year in on tour in the US.